Bonjour tout le monde. Good day, everyone. The video you just watched comes from our online contributions experience. It illustrates the ongoing impact families coming to Canada have on their communities. This content complements recent updates to the Canadian Immigration Story exhibition at the museum that honors the tremendous contributions immigrants make to this country. Au nom du Conseil d'administration et de tout le personnel, j'aimerais vous souhaiter la bienvenue à notre 10e réunion publique annuelle. Comme l'année dernière, en raison de la COVID-19, nous organisons notre réunion publique annuelle en ligne. Cela a l'avantage cependant d'en élargir l'accès à beaucoup plus de gens à travers le pays. Today we are coming to you from the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21 in Halifax. And I am speaking to you from the beautiful Canadian Museum for Human Rights in my hometown, Winnipeg. With this in mind, I would like to acknowledge that Winnipeg is on Treaty 1 territory, the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and on the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I also wish to acknowledge that Pier 21 is located in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people and are all fortunate to share in this land we call Canada. Le Musée canadien d'immigration recueille, préserve et partage les histoires des voyages, des arrivées, de l'établissement et de l'impact. Today we are reporting on the 12-month period beginning April 1, 2020, just 18 days after the pandemic first closed our doors. It was, to say, an unusual year, a year of radical changes in people's lives, a year that included a major tragedy in the museum's home province of Nova Scotia, and a year of reckoning with the reality of systemic racism in our societies and institutions. It was also a year that brought out some of our best qualities. We cared for each other, and we adapted and innovated to preserve our communities and our country in the face of enormous challenge. At Pier 21, we kept the museum's mission alive, and we showed resiliency. And finally, we began to welcome visitors and tourists back to the museum. Aujourd'hui, ce processus de réouverture et de rétablissement est en bonne voie. Nous avons hâte d'accueillir les visiteurs du monde entier et en grand nombre dans notre bâtiment physique. De plus, nous poursuivons de bon nombre des initiatives numériques auxquelles nous avons eu recours pendant la pandémie et qui nous ont permis de continuer à servir la mission de le musée à l'échelle nationale. I want to recognize and thank all those who have worked to keep the museum's mission not only alive but thriving during this time. Nous ne pourrions pas faire connaître ces histoires sans le généreux soutien du gouvernement du Canada. And in a year where revenues from admissions, rentals, and our gift shop were deeply impacted, we are thankful to have benefited from special COVID-19 funding from the federal government. We also want to recognize the many individual, corporate, and foundation donors who continued their commitment during this turbulent period and who continue to support us today. Your support allows the museum to offer thought-provoking programs and experiences for our visitors of all ages. Nous vous remercions pour les briques que vous avez achetées, les adhésions au club de Quai 21, les programmes que vous avez commandités et tout ce que votre générosité rend possible au Musée canadien d'immigration du Quai 21. I want to extend a special thank you and welcome to all those donors and supporters who are joining us today on this call. It is also my pleasure to recognize the museum staff, volunteers, and management team led by Marie Chapman, our CEO. Félicitations à vous tous et toutes, et merci infiniment. And finally, I would like to personally acknowledge the work of my fellow trustees. Your commitment and stewardship serve the museum so well. Collectively, staff, management, and our board of trustees bring to life our vision of connecting Canadians to our immigration history, past and present. Thank you, merci, miigwech. And now I'll turn the microphone over to our CEO, Marie Chapman.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for your unwavering leadership and support of the museum. The museum's mandate is to explore the theme of immigration to Canada in order to enhance public understanding of the experiences of immigrants as they arrived in Canada, of the vital role immigration has played in the building of Canada, and the contributions of immigrants to Canada's culture, economy, and way of life. I am here in the recently renovated contributions section of the Canadian Immigration Hall. Behind me is a map of the world where visitors can add their story of their journey to Canada. I have a few of my favorite tags that I have selected to read to you today. Parents were boat people from Vietnam. My dad was almost stranded at sea, arrived in March with no winter clothes. They're only here, as am I, because Canada was accepting refugees at the time. Mon papa est arrivé au Canada en 1990, à l'âge de 14 ans. Aujourd'hui, il travaille en immigration. My husband and I moved from Brazil to Canada in 2016. Next week, we'll take the oath to become Canadians. En tant que musée d'histoire, nous recueillons des histoires orales et des récits personnels. Les histoires que nous partageons ne sont pas uniquement celles de quelques millions d'immigrants qui sont passés par la porte d'entrée du Canada au Quai 21. Elles représentent également la diversité de nouveaux arrivants qui ont choisi de s'installer au Canada des premiers contacts à aujourd'hui. The museum was closed to the public for a good deal of the 2020-21 fiscal year. Even when we were open, closed borders and travel restrictions meant we welcomed fewer in-person visitors. But we, like so many organizations, adapted and innovated to continue to deliver the museum's mission. With the help of a major gift from Beatrice Crawford and her family, we launched our new virtual field trips, a digital offering that not only keeps us accessible to school groups, but expands our reach, making it as easy to reach students in British Columbia or Nunavut as neighboring Truro, Nova Scotia. Notre programmation publique est passée d'une programmation sur place à une programmation en ligne, offrant notamment des événements pour la Semaine d'éducation sur l'Holocauste, le Mois du patrimoine africain et la Fête du Canada. Quand les règles de santé publique le permettaient, nous avons également organisé des programmes sur place, notamment le lancement du livre de John Tatry intitulé Peace by Chocolate, The Haddad Family's Remarkable Journey from Syria to Canada. Et nous avons une fois de plus participé à Nocturne, l'expérience artistique annuelle de la ville d'Halifax. Le Centre d'histoire familiale Banque Scotia, qui aide les gens à faire des recherches sur l'histoire de l'arrivée de leur famille au Canada, est resté actif, répondant aux demandes en ligne. Our Welcome Home to Canada program, through which we hire recent immigrants as a bridge to meaningful permanent employment in Canada, continued, albeit with lower numbers based on physical distancing requirements within our office spaces. Our most notable project last year was the completion of the physical installation of an immersive 45-foot-long curved screen multimedia experience in the Canadian Immigration Story exhibition. In hard times, you look for silver linings. The timing of this installation was one of those. We were very lucky to have already been planning to close for this project. When we reopened in April, we were grateful to see visitors experience and engage with this inspiring content as we had hoped they would. Entre-temps, notre deuxième exposition itinérante, Refuge Canada, a été présentée à Nanaimo, Lethbridge et Kingston, avec le généreux soutien du groupe Banque TD. Nous aide ainsi à étendre le portée du musée à travers le pays. We partnered with the Chisholm Project to collect Tibetan Canadian oral histories marking 50 years of Tibetan immigration to Canada. Collaborating with interviewers in the Tibetan Canadian community was an opportunity to add new stories from underrepresented voices. Our team's hard at work planning for upcoming exhibitions, including The World of Yusuf Karsh, a special exhibition of portraits by the notable Armenian-Canadian photographer. This exhibit features over 100 images of major figures of the 20th century, including acclaimed African Nova Scotian contralto, Portia White. It's opening in March of 2022 in collaboration with the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. I look forward to sharing it with you. The museum produced season 2 of our podcast, Countless Journeys, and D'innombrables Voyages, 2 distinct shows, one in each official language, inspired by our theme of contributions. From Sonia Bada to Jacques Boba, Trey Anthony to Wally Buono, you will learn more about some Canadians you know and be introduced to the amazing stories of others. L'animatrice Kim Thuy est revenue pour sa 2e saison d'Innombrables Voyages et Pietro Palo a repris les rênes pour la 2e saison de Countless Journeys. Et au moment où je vous parle, la 3e saison est en cours de production. Vous pouvez la trouver sur votre plateforme de balado préférée. Une autre étape importante a été la publication du livre Quai 21, une histoire pour les historiens du musée Stephen Schwinghammer et Jan Raska. Il était gratifiant que les efforts de plusieurs années de recherche et de travail aient été si bien accueillis. Last December, the museum was certified by the Rick Hansen Foundation Accessibility Certification Program, which works to help improve accessibility of the built environment in Canada. It remains a priority for our almost 100-year-old building to be accessible to all of our visitors. On the philanthropy front, like so many others, we have felt the weight of COVID-19 and the impact on our ability to raise funds. And yet, as history has shown, it is in times of adversity that we come together and are uplifted by others. The pandemic fueled our team to find creative ways to stay connected with Canadians across the country. And just as our staff and volunteers rose, so too did our donors. Despite having to cancel and postpone again our fundraisers for the year, patrons still showed their support by making donations in lieu of attending and sponsoring these events. Many of our donors still gave, and some gave even more. Merci aux membres du Club de Quai 21 pour leur don de leadership et à tous nos donateurs pour avoir continué à montrer leur soutien pour des dons annuels, des briques sous nos murs et bien plus encore. Nous sommes très reconnaissants pour la générosité et la gentillesse dont vous faites preuve. C'est que cela fait et continue de faire toute la différence, ce qui nous aide à partager encore des histoires d'espoir, d'amour et de courage, alors même que nous en avons le plus grand besoin. The Wadea M. Ferris Wall of Tribute is a donor wall established for organizations, consulates, and embassies to highlight how their communities have contributed to Canada's culture, economy, and way of life. This year, a new plaque was dedicated by Bassam Nahas to the Philae Shriners of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, an organization of which he was the first Lebanese Canadian potentate. The museum also received a new major gift from Wadea M. Ferris, a longtime donor and champion of the museum. This support is crucial to our recovery. Whenever asked about his contributions to the museum, Wadea humbly references famous Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran. I felt in my heart to give a little because I was given so much. Thank you, Wadia, for paying it forward. You are a shining example of how immigrants enrich our country every single day. We're also extremely grateful for the ongoing support from RBC, the R. Howard Webster Foundation, and Scotiabank, who help us fund youth, newcomer, and volunteer programs respectively that enrich the visitor experience and add greater relevance and meaning to the stories that we share. Merci encore à tous nos donateurs, à nos partenaires et au gouvernement du Canada de nous aider à partager les innombrables voyages qui ont amené tant d'entre nous dans ce pays, afin qu'ensemble nous puissions construire un Canada plus fort. I look forward to welcoming you back to the museum soon. Don't miss the opportunity to see Karsh's portraits of some of the 20th century's most iconic figures in person. Before moving on to the question and answer section of our annual public meeting, I would like to close with a video that we created for Canada Day 2020, at a time when so many businesses and institutions were in lockdown. It speaks to our collective determination to go on and go forward with our partners. It reminds us of that moment in time and how together we were, even as we were forced to stay apart. As we look forward to continued recovery, its lyrics and spirit are equally relevant today.
forces of creation across the stormy sky. We look to reincarnation to explain our lives. Come see le voir, pouvez-nous dire que tout comme le vent, tout comme la mer, tout comme les vents dans les cimes, we rise in
rise again in the faces of our children. We rise again in the voices